Good afternoon, everyone. It's good to see everyone again. I got a message today. I've been feeling real heavy in my spirit, and the Lord said the darkness is coming. The darkness is coming. It's gloom and shadow, and there's scriptures to go with it, and it makes sense. Basically, I'm pretty sure they're going to explain themselves. Deuteronomy 28. Deuteronomy 28:15, right through 68. And I believe this is all part of why the darkness is coming. But it shall not come about if you do not obey the Lord your God, to observe, to do all his commandments and in his statutes with which I charge you today, that all of these curses will come upon you and overtake you. Because when I got that message today and I came home and I started looking up darkness, when I read that first line, I already knew. Cursed shall you be in the city, and cursed shall you be in the country. Cursed shall be your basket and your kneading bowl. Cursed shall be the offspring of your body and the produce of your ground, and increase of your herd and young of your flock. Cursed shall you be when you come in, and cursed shall you be when you go out. The Lord will send upon you curses, confusion, and rebuke in all of your in all you undertake to do, until you are destroyed and until you perish quickly on account of the evil of your deeds, because you have forsaken me. The Lord will make the pestilences cling to you until he has consumed you from the land where you are entering to possess it. The Lord will smite you with consumption and with fever and with inflammation and with fiery heat and with the sword, with the blight of his mildew, and they will pursue you until you perish. The heaven which is over your head shall be bronze, and the earth which is under your iron. The Lord will make the rain of your land powder and dust from heaven, and it shall come down on you until you are destroyed. The Lord shall cause you to be defeated before your enemies. You will go out one way against them, but you will flee 7 ways before them, and you will be an example of terror to all the kingdoms of the earth. Your carcasses will be food to all the birds of the sky and the beasts of the earth, and there will be no one to frighten them away. The Lord will smite you with the boils of Egypt, with tumors and with scabs and with the itch from which you cannot be healed. The Lord will smite you with madness and with blindness and with bewilderment of heart. And you will grope at noon as the blind man gropes in darkness, and you will not prosper in your ways, but you shall only be oppressed and robbed continually, with none to save you. This is why everybody's pleading. If you don't know Jesus, this is why. Because you're going to go somewhere for eternity. It's either going to be hell or it's going to be heaven. And this is telling us already. You shall betroth a wife, but another man will violate her. You shall build a house, but you will not live in it. You shall plant a vineyard, but you will not use its fruits. Your ox shall be slaughtered before your eyes, but you will not eat it. Your donkey shall be torn away from you, and you will not be restored to you. Your sheep shall be given to your enemies, and you will have none to save you. Your sons and your daughters shall be given to another people, while your eyes look on and yearn for them continually. But there will be nothing you can do. A people whom you do not know shall eat up your produce of your ground and all the laborers, and you will never be anything but oppressed and crushed continually. You shall be driven mad by the sight of what you see. The Lord will strike you on your knees, and legs will be sore boils from which you cannot be healed. From the soles of your feet to the crown of your head, the Lord will bring you and your king, whom you set over you, to a nation which neither you nor your fathers have known. And there you shall serve other gods. Wood and stone, you shall become a horror, a proverb, and a taunt among the people where the Lord drives you. You shall bring out much seed to the field, but you will gather in little, for the locust will consume it. You shall plant and cultivate vineyards, but you will neither drink of the wine nor gather the grapes, for the worm will devour them. You shall have olive trees throughout your territory, but you will not anoint yourself with the oil from the oils will drop off. You shall have sons and daughters, but they will not be yours, for they will go into captivity. The cricket shall possess all your trees and the produce of the ground, and the alien who is among you shall rise above you higher and higher, but you will go down lower and lower. He shall lend to you, but you will not lend to him. He shall be the head, and you shall be the tail. So all the curses shall come on you and pursue you and overtake you until you are destroyed, because you would not obey the Lord your God by keeping his commandments and his statutes which he commanded you. They shall become a sign and a wonder on you and your descendants forever, because you did not serve the Lord your God with joy and glad heart for the abundance of all things. Therefore you shall serve your enemies with whom the Lord will send against you in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and the lack of all things, and he will put an iron yoke on your neck until he has destroyed you. This is no joke. The Lord told me his word is no joke. The Lord will bring a nation against you from afar, from the ends of the earth, and the eagles swoop down on a nation whose language you shall not understand, nation of fierce countenance, who will have no respect for the old, nor show favor to the young. Moreover, it shall eat the offspring of your herd and the produce of your ground until you are destroyed, who also leave you no grain, new wine or oil, nor the increase of your herd, nor the young of your flock, until they have caused you to perish. It shall besiege you in all of your towns until your high and fortified walls in which you trusted come down throughout your land, and it shall besiege you in all of your towns throughout your land, which the Lord your God has given you. And then you shall eat the offspring of your own body, the flesh of your sons and of your daughters, whom the Lord your God has given you during the siege and the distress of which your enemy will oppress you. The man who is refined, very delicate among you, shall be hostile toward his brother, and toward his wife, toward the wife he cherishes, and toward the rest of his children who remain, so that he will not give even one of them any of the flesh of his children which he will eat, since he has nothing else left during the siege and the distress by which your enemy will press you in all of your towns. The refined and the delicate woman among you, who would not venture to set the sole of her foot on the ground for delicateness and refinement, shall be hostile toward the husband she cherishes, and toward her son and daughter, and toward her afterbirth which issues from between her legs, and toward her children whom she bears, for she will eat them secretly for lack of anything else during the siege and the distress by which your enemy will oppress you in your towns. If you are not careful to observe all the words of this law which are written in this book, to fear this honored and awesome name, the Lord your God. Then the Lord will bring extraordinary plagues on you and your descendants, even severe and lasting plagues and miserable and chronic sicknesses. He will bring back on you all the distresses of Egypt, of which you were afraid, and they will cling to you. Also, every sickness and every plague which not written in the book of this law, the Lord will bring on you until you are destroyed, and then you shall be left few in number. And whereas you were numerous as the stars in heaven, because you did not obey the Lord your God, it shall come about that as the Lord delighted over you to prosper you and multiply you, so the Lord will delight over you to make you perish and destroy you, and you will be torn from the land where you are entering to possess it. Moreover, the Lord will scatter you among all the people, from one end of the earth to the other end of the earth. And there you shall serve your gods, wood and stone, which you or your fathers have not known. Among those nations you shall find no rest. There will be no resting place for the sole of your foot. But there the Lord will give you trembling heart, failing of eyes, and despair of soul. Oh, gosh. So your life shall hang in doubt before you, and you will dread night and day, and shall have no assurance of your life. In the morning you shall say, would that were evening. And at evening you shall say, would that were not morning, because of the dread of your heart which you dread, and for the sight of your eyes which you will see. The Lord will bring you back to Egypt in the ships, by the way about which I spoke to you. You will never see it again. And there you will offer yourselves for sale to your enemies as male and female slaves, but there will be no buyer. I wouldn't want this for my worst enemy. Gosh, the power of God. If people only knew. Oh, if I can continue to read this message. 1 Samuel 2. Hannah's song of thanksgiving. Then Hannah prayed and said, my heart exalts in the Lord. My horn is exalted in the Lord. My mouth speaks boldly against my enemies, because I rejoice in your salvation. There is no one holy like the Lord. Indeed, there is no one beside you, nor is there any rock like your God. Boast no more so very proudly. Do not let arrogance come out of your mouth, for the Lord is a God of knowledge, and with him actions are weighed. The bows of the mighty are shattered, but the feeble gird on strength. Those who were full hire themselves out for bread, but those who are hungry cease to hunger. Even the barren gives birth to 7, but she who has children languishes. The Lord kills and makes alive. He brings down to Sheol and raises up. Sheol is the grave. And the Lord makes poor and rich, and he brings low. He also exalts. He raises the poor from the dust. He lifts the needy from the ash heap, to make them sit with nobles and inherit a seat of honor. For the pillars of the earth are the Lord's, and he set the world on them. And he keeps the feet of his godly ones, but the wicked ones are silenced in darkness. For not by might shall a man prevail. Those who content with the Lord will be shattered. Against them he will thunder in the heavens. The Lord will judge the ends of the earth, and he will give strength to his king, and he will exalt the horn of his anointed. And then Elkanah went to his home at Ramah, but the boy ministered to the Lord before Eli the priest. The sins of Eli's son. Now the sons of Eli were worthless men. They did not know the Lord, and the custom of the priests with the people. When any man was offering a sacrifice, the priest's servant would come while the meat was boiling, with the three-pronged fork in his hand. Then he would thrust it into the pan or kettle or cauldron or pot. All that the fork brought up, the priest would take for himself. And thus they did in Shiloh to all the Israelites who came there. Also, before they burned the fat, the priest's servant would come and say to the man who was sacrificing, "Give the priest meat for roasting, as he will not take boiled meat from you, only raw." If the man said to him, "They must surely burn the fat first, and then take as much as you desire," then he would say, "No, but you shall give it to me now, and if not, I will take it by force." Thus the sin of the young men were very great before the Lord, for the men despised the offering of the Lord. Samuel before the Lord as a boy. Now Samuel was ministering before the Lord as a boy, wearing a linen ephod. And his mother would make him a little robe and bring it to him from year to year when she would come up with her husband to offer the yearly sacrifice. Then Eli would be blessed, and Elkanah and his wife, and say, "May the Lord give you children from this woman in place of the one she dedicated to the Lord." And they went to their own home. And the Lord visited Hannah, and she conceived and gave birth to 3 sons and 2 daughters. And the boy Samuel grew before the Lord. Eli rebukes his sons. Now Eli was very old, and he heard all of his sons were doing what all of his sons were doing to all of Israel, and how they lay with the women who served at the doorway in the tent of the meeting. And he said to them, "Why do you do such things? The evil that I hear from all of these people, no, my sons, for the report is not good, which I hear the Lord's people circulating. If one man sins against another, God will mediate for him. But if a man sins against the Lord, who can intercede for him?" But they would not listen to the voice of their father, for the Lord desired to put them to death. Now the boy Samuel was growing in stature and in favor both with the Lord and with men. Then a man of God came to Eli and said to him, "Thus says the Lord, did I not indeed reveal myself to the house of your father when they were in Egypt and in bondage to Pharaoh's house? Did I not choose them from all of the tribes of Israel to be my priests, to go up to my altar, to burn incense, to carry an ephod before me? And did I not give to the house of the father of all the fire offering to the sons of Israel? Why do you kick at my sacrifice and at my offering, which I have commanded in my dwelling, and honor your sons above me by making yourselves fat, the choicest of every offering of my people Israel? Therefore the Lord God of Israel declares, I did indeed say that your house and the house of your fathers should walk before me forever. But now the Lord declares, far it from me. For those who honor me I will honor, and those who despise me will be lightly esteemed. Behold, the days will be coming when I will break your strength and the strength of your father's house, so that there will be an old man in your house, and you will see the distress of my dwelling, in spite of the good that I have to do for Israel. And an old man will not be in your house forever. Yet I will not cut off every man of yours from my altar, so that my eyes will fail from weeping and your souls grieve, and all the increase of your house will die in the prime of life. This will be the sign that which you will come concerning your 2 sons, Hophni and Phinehas. On the same day both of them will die. But I will raise up for myself a faithful priest who will do according to what is in my heart and my soul, and I will build him on an enduring house, and he will walk before my anointed always. Everyone who is left in my house will come and bow down to him for a piece of silver or a loaf of bread and say, please assign me to the one of the priest's officers so that I may eat a piece of bread. And now we're going to read 2 Samuel 22. David's Psalms of Deliverance. And David spoke the words of this song to the Lord in the day that the Lord delivered him from the hand of all his enemies and from the hand of Saul. And he said, the Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer, my God, my rock in whom I take refuge, my shield and the horn of my salvation, my stronghold, my refuge, my Savior. You save me from violence. I call upon the Lord who is worthy to be praised, and I am saved from my enemies. For the waves of death encompass me, the torments of destructions overwhelm me, the cords of Sheol surround me, and the snares of death confront me. And in my distress I call upon the Lord. Yes, I cried to my God, and from his temple he heard my voice, and my cry for help came into his ears. And then the earth shook and quaked, and the foundations of heavens were trembling. And they were shaken because he was angry. This is exactly what this is why the darkness is coming. Just the things that we are already seeing are just the start. And now I can tell why I have that heaviness in my spirit, because of what I could hardly even read what he's going to do. And people think they have no idea. They just go on like business as usual, like they did in the day of Noah. Partying and carrying on. What's the next thing they're going to get? Where's the next place they're going on vacation? Smoke went up out of his nostrils. Fire from his mouth devoured. Coals were kindled by it. He bowed the heavens also and came down with thick darkness under his feet. And he rode on a cherub and flew, and he appeared on the wings of the wind. And he made darkness canopies around him, a mass of waters, thick clouds of the sky. From the brightness from him, coals of fire were kindled. The Lord thundered from the heavens, and the Most High uttered his voice, and he sent out arrows and scattered them, lightnings and routed them. And then the channels of the sea appeared. The foundations of the world were laid bare, and by the rebuke of the Lord, at the blast of the breath of his nostrils, he sent from on high, he took me. He drew me out of many waters. He delivered me from my strong enemy, from those who hated me, for they were too strong for me. This is one of the other reasons why I know that I'm going to read the scripture about the discipline of the Lord, and this is why we need his discipline, because I'm going to read it again. Verse 18, he delivered me from my strong enemy, for those who hated me, for they were too strong for me. He defeated them. They confronted me in the day of my calamity, but the Lord was my support. He also brought me forth into a broad place. He rescued me because he delighted in me. The Lord has rewarded me according to my righteousness, according to the channels or the cleanliness of my hands. He has recompensed me, for I have kept the ways of the Lord and have not acted wickedly against my God, for all his ordinances were before me, and as for his statutes, I did not depart from them. I was also blameless toward him, and I kept myself from my iniquity. Therefore the Lord has recompensed me according to my righteousness, according to my cleanliness before his eyes. With the kind you show yourself kind. With the blameless you show yourself blameless. With the pure you show yourself pure. And with the perverted you show yourself astute. And you save and afflicted people, but your eyes are of a haughty whom you abase. For you are my lamp, O Lord. The Lord illumines my darkness. For by you I can run upon a troop. But my God, I can leap over a wall. As for God, his way is blameless. The word of the Lord is tested. He is a shield to all who take refuge in him. For who is God besides the Lord, and who is a rock beside your God? God is my strong fortress, and he sets the blameless in his way. He makes his feet like hind feet, and he sets me on high places. He trains my hands for battle, so that my arms can bend a bow of bronze. You have also given me the shield of your salvation, and your help makes me great. You enlarge my steps under me, and my feet have not slipped. I pursued my enemies and destroyed them. I did not turn back until they were consumed, and I have devoured them and shattered them so that they did not rise, and they fell under my feet. For you have girded me with strength for battle, and you have subdued under those who rose up against me, and you have also made my enemies turn their back to me, and I destroyed those who hated me. And they looked, but there was none to save, even to the Lord, but he did not answer them. Then I pulverized them as the dust of the earth, and I crushed and stampled them as the mire of the streets. And you have also delivered me from the countenances of my people. You have kept me as a head of the nations. A people whom I have not known serve me. Foreigners pretend obedience to me. As soon as they hear, they obey me. Foreigners lose heart and come trembling out of their fortresses. The Lord lives and blesses my rock and exalted be God, the rock of my salvation, the God who executes vengeance for me and brings down people under me, who also brings me out from my enemies. You even lift me above those who rise up against me. You rescue me from the violent man. Therefore I will give thanks to you, O Lord, among the nations. I will sing praise to your name. He is a tower of deliverance for his king and shows loving kindness to his anointed, to David and his descendants forever. I have to put this in another video because I'm seeing my time is going to run out, so I'm going to have a second part to this. The darkness, the gloom, the shadow